Yeah, Houston came back and they scored 20 unanswered in the second quarter. You know, they go into the halftime up 23-17.
That's very Deshaun Watson.
You know what I mean? And then, and then they was able to score another touchdown in the fourth and 2-point conversion and win the game. So this game, this is another thing that made me realize that I really can't listen to what analysts are saying. Because what has been being spewed over the last couple of weeks is how Kansas City's defense has turned the page and has played much, much better over these last, basically the second half of the season. Okay. Which they have. I give them credit there. However, you go back and look at the teams they've played during this span where they quote their defense has been better. So they lost to Tennessee 35-32. Derrick Henry destroyed them. Right. Let me look at these stats real quick. Yeah, Derrick Henry had 23 carries, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The man averaged almost a first down a carry. All right, so they got destroyed in that game there. So then they play, after that, the Chargers, pedestrian Chargers offense, who Phillip Rivers has looked shitty all season long. They play the Raiders. They blow them out 40-9. Okay, you know, Raiders offense isn't fucking astounding. The Patriots, they beat them 23-16. We already talked about them earlier, how their offensive woes happened. They beat a Denver's Broncos team 23-3, and Denver had Drew Lock in there, rookie quarterback, and then, you know, can you name Phillip Lindsay and then who's the receiver? Sutton? That's the best
Portland
players.
Sutton, I like.
Right, you know, solid, but, you know, he's a rookie quarterback. All right, cool. They beat them. Chicago Bears and Mitch Trubisky, they beat them 26-3. Trubisky sucks. All right, let's call it what it is. Chargers again, 31-21 to wrap up the season. All right. So those are the teams that they've beaten where their defense has played better. And the defense has played better, albeit, though, it wasn't against elite offensive talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got ran all over by Tennessee. That loss there, was that their last loss of the season? Yeah, that was. That's their last loss of the season, and before they went on a 6-game winning streak. So they're definitely hot. They're definitely feeling good. They was able to secure the number 2 seed in the bye week with your boys taking out New England the last game of the season. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that at all. The reason really that New England, you know, if for no other reason, they didn't get a bye, and the reason they're already packing their bags to go home is because they couldn't beat the tanking Miami Dolphins in the final week of the season. That's just, it's astounding to me, but that is what it is, I guess.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But, you know, looking at this game, I love what you said there about, you know, the Chiefs kind of not really facing anybody. I still think Andy Reid coming off of a bye is, in this case, going to be just about, you know, unbeatable. And looking at it here, Deshaun Watson just took another pounding last week from Buffalo. You know, I can guarantee he's coming off that game hurting. You've got Mahomes well rested and the rest of that offense ready to go. Whereas I thought, you know, having a couple of weeks off might be just minorly to the detriment of Lamar Jackson. I think it's going to be everything that the Chiefs needed to get fully healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
And with Andy Reid at the helm, he's going to have them ready and prepared. And going into Arrowhead is going to be incredibly difficult. And they had to, at home, have a last-second overtime huge play to get by Buffalo.
Right.
And that's why I think ultimately, you know, the Chiefs win this game. You know, when the Bills looked like they had the best scheme out there, when they game plan, that first drive of the game that you were talking about a little bit, it was like that was game planned for, that was set up, that was scripted, and it worked really well. I think, and the Bills needed that kind of thing, right? The Bills need that kind of scripting and that kind of, you know, putting a drive together like that. I feel like that's what the Chiefs do on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? I feel like the Chiefs' offense is incredible. Mahomes is otherworldly. Yeah. So I just, again, if I'm going with my heart and not just, you know, saying things just to be in line with what everybody else is saying, I think the Chiefs kill them, if I'm being honest. I know that the results last game didn't turn out that way last time these two teams played each other, but I just have a feeling the Chiefs just give it to them.
I think, so honestly, I think this is going to turn out to be the best game of the weekend.
Really?
And I feel like it's going to be a shootout. Like,
really?
I think it's going to be a shootout. Kansas City defense is not as good as these analysts are trying to make it seem.
Okay.
I feel like, so, all right.
Is Fuller going to play? Do you know?
I believe Fuller is going to play.
Is going to play?
I believe he's going to play.
That'll help.
what I was going to say, though, is Buffalo's defense. Buffalo is able to get after Houston's. Buffalo's defense is much, 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 much better than Kansas City defense is. Hands down. All right. So they'll definitely be able to go out. They're definitely able to get after Houston and make, Deshaun Watson fucking eat turf almost every other play pretty much. Kansas City, I don't feel like is going to be able to do so as much. And I feel like that Deshaun Watson is definitely going to have success throwing the ball. Although I can definitely see him having a couple of turnovers as well. I can see him having some stat line like 400 yards throwing, 4 touchdowns, and like 2 or 3 interceptions. I can see that. At the same time, I think Carlos Hyde can be a factor in this game because that's still the knock on Kansas City. You can still run the ball on these guys and dominate their front seven. So I think Carlos Hyde can have a decent game. I think he has to have a really big game for the Houston Texans to win it. Now, I'm not picking Houston to win. I think Kansas City ultimately will win the shootout, but I got it as a score of like something of the lines of like 45-37.
I think big shootout like that.
I think it's going to be crazy.
Okay, that's cool. I could totally see that. I just don't see the Texans putting up that many points, but I'm right with you there. I would put it somewhere like 37-17 or something. I don't see the Texans scoring as many points there, but. I think it's definitely going to be an offensive game. If both teams scored a few more points, I wouldn't be surprised. It sounds like we're both saying to go with the over on this one.
Definitely go with the over. What is the over? Hold on, let me look at this.
Yeah, check that one out because I think it's going to be a high scoring game also.
So Kansas City is favored by 9.5, and the over under is 51.
51. So what did I say? 37-17. That's still putting you on the over. Yeah. I think the over is going to be pretty easy to attain because if the score for both teams was higher than like 37-17, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that both teams are going to open up, and it's going to be an entertaining game for sure. But I think the Chiefs just mash them.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah. I think Tyreek goes crazy. I think Tyreek has over 180 yards receiving in this game. Travis Kelce has a big game.
Kelce. I think even Sammy could get involved. They've got a bunch of guys you can get involved with. Robinson and the Mecole Hardman. I mean, they've got weapons on weapons on weapons, and even Williams the running back started playing better down the stretch after he nearly lost his job. So that's a scary offense.
Also, another thing as well. Damn, I just lost it. Hold on. Oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes. I feel like that because Patrick has that gunslinger mentality. I feel like that he can make a couple of mistakes and throw maybe a pick six there or a couple of interceptions.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I think for the Texans to have any shot at winning, they're going to have to win the turnover battle and win it pretty big. Like they're going to have to they're going to have to win their turnover. They're going to have to be like a +3 on turnovers, I think, to win this game, right? Yeah. Something like that, which could happen. I mean, that's why you play the game. No team is easy, right? If this game goes according to plan, like the way I see it going, I just think the Chiefs just roll over them.
So this is my upset alert game right here. I want so bad to pick the Texans.
Wow.
Out of also Baltimore and Kansas City is, I think, Baltimore's kryptonite. Like that's the one team in the playoffs that I didn't want to see if we didn't have to. But at the same time, I kind of do. I kind of want to have Kansas City come to Baltimore because the last 2 times we played them, it's been close games, and then they've both been in Kansas City. I want to see how it switches once Kansas City's in Baltimore, and then also I'm one of those mindsets of you to be considered the best team, you gotta beat the best teams, and I think Kansas City between the two are the better team, and that'll be the team I would want Baltimore to go through on their way to the Super Bowl.
As a fan of football, I am, salivating at the chance to see an AFC Championship game that features, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I think that's awesome for the NFL. I mean, that's highlighting the new crop of quarterbacks that are going to come out and be the next big thing for the next 10 years. We've already made all kinds of references to it, but the age of Brady and Breeze and maybe even Rodgers, we've already Manning's already moved off into the sunset. Eli's moving off into the sunset. Big Ben, I think, is on the top. I think these guys are all kind of moving on, and we're seeing these young guys pop up as who's going to be the elite players in the league for the next 10 to 15 years. So kind of cool, and I'd love to see it right now. They're young. They're kind of in their primes, at least athletically. So I think that would be awesome, and I think we're going to see it. I think the Ravens and the Chiefs both win. Again, I told you, spoiler alert, I only had the one upset going, so I think the Vikings upset the Niners, but the Ravens and Chiefs handle their business.
Okay. And then last game here, we got the Seahawks going to Lambeau Field to face the number 2 seed in the NFC, Green Bay Packers. Now, with this game, I feel like Green Bay should win it. Like, I feel like they should win it handily, honestly. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is at that point in his career where the passes that he gets for playoff failures and obviously he's been injured and I had Mike McCarthy and he calls terrible plays and blah, 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 blah. I feel like those are all gone now. Like, the excuses are done. He has to deliver. And the pressure is going to be on him, but I feel like he's Aaron Rodgers and he's going to go ahead and do what he needs to do to win this game. Packers defensive wise, I feel like that the pass rush tandem between Prescott Smith, am I saying that right? Is it Preston Smith? Preston Smith and then Zendarius Smith. I think they get after Russell Wilson, and I think they make his day a living hell. Russell's going to do his damnedest to try to keep his team in it. But I think this is going to be one of those games where Green Bay just kind of just handles it throughout the whole game. And Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, by the way, who's awesome. This is an awesome running back, awesome weapon offensively. I think he has a big game against the Seattle defense as well. And that's kind of my take on this one here.
Yeah, this is a weird game for me because I think had Seattle been coming into this game really healthy, it might be a little bit of a different story. But I think at running back, they're really going to struggle to move the ball on the Packers. And I'll tell you, the Packers are maybe the most interesting team to me because if you've watched any of their games, they never went out and just stomped somebody, right? They never went out and just, their record is 13-3. They just kept winning games, but for me, they never really passed the eye test. They kind of had to struggle to beat shitty teams. They had to go out there in the last week of the season to get the bye. They struggled to beat the Lions. And all year long, they kind of had those types of games where we see, Rodgers kind of doing his thing, but leaning more heavily on Aaron Jones and the running backs to kind of carry the load. Their defense doing just enough, never looking dominant, never shutting anyone out, but just enough to get by and win. So they're a great team. I expect that they're going to win. Again, I went with the Vikings earlier, but talking upset alert, this might be a game where keep your eye on it. Because I said earlier, Russell Wilson's your quarterback. You're going to be in the game. I don't think that this will be a blowout. I think this might be the game that I'm looking forward to the most after that Niners-Vikings game, just to see how it plays out. I could see this going wildly different ways. I could see it being a shootout with Rodgers hitting Devontae Adams a bunch of times and Russell Wilson matching that, going to Lockett and DK Metcalf. I could see this being a grinded out type game, where one of these teams wins, 17-10, very much like what the Eagles game looked like. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm giving the road type of scores. It's going to be a very interesting game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that aspect too. Well, the Packers are favorite 4.5, and
I think the Packers cover that. I do.
The over under is 47. Yeah, to me, this is one of those legacy defying type playoff runs here for Aaron Rodgers because he's gotten several passes and he's been hurt, and the offense has been stagnant, and the defense, he never really had a really good defense. This is probably his best defense he's had in Green Bay since probably,
and maybe his best running back that he's had,
and his best running back. And seriously, Eddie Lacy had a couple of good seasons for him, but still. So this
what was his nickname? Cheeseburger
Eddie.
We're not calling anybody whose nickname at running back, whose nickname is Cheeseburger, a great running back.
Eddie Lacy was nice. He was solid.
I'm sure he was a nice guy when he was not nice on the field.
He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Stop it.
He's no Aaron Jones now.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I think this is the most complete Packers team that we've seen. From if you just look at the roster on paper, and this is one of those things because I like Russell Wilson a lot. Russell Wilson's one of my top 5 players, and I would love for him to be able to get the Seahawks team to a Super Bowl. But it's just man, it's only so much you can do. You got no running game. The offensive line has always been patchy in Seattle. He's always usually running for his life. And then DK Metcalf, although he had a great game against